I was fucking pulling shit out of my ass and putting it on doorknobs when I was a kid.
True.
Well, I know even as a kid, back when I was a kid, like 9/11 when it happened, right? Like all the parents, yeah, all the parents back in the day.
I'm sorry. Go.
Wait, what guy?
There was this. Was it Gary V or something? It's like my 4-year-old made this NFT.
Oh
Dude, kids are not that fucking smart. It's not physically possible. They're dumb, dude. I'll get political about how dumb kids are. Other than that, I'm pretty apolitical.
Even as a kid, like when 9/11 happened, like I know most parents like just turned the TV off because they're like, we don't really want to go through the explanations yet of like what the fuck just happened. So it's like all of a sudden when this happens now, your kid's just watching fucking Fox News or like CNN right there on that moment.
Little guys dressed like Tucker Carlson from 2014, his little fucking bow tie, just ready to start spitting facts.
Cheers.
Dude, I swear Fox News is like the wildest, like I swear to God, there's like probably the most intelligent fucking media company out there. I remember like when the anti-work shit happened, they were so ready to capitalize on that subreddit when that mod showed up. Like when that fucking dude came up with that Jesse like Waters interview, I'm like, there's no way this guy can win. There's
you mean the dog walker?
Yeah,
professional
like,
dog walker.
15 hours a week or some shit like that, and then I'm a dog
on
walker.
On weekends, he goes Pokemon Go walking just to make sure that those eggs hatch. You know what I'm saying?
And it's so wild. Like again, it goes back to like how people use that one example as a case study to push the narrative like that they want. Because I'm like, obviously, like when you look into that anti-work Reddit, it was people who were like, "Hey, let's just not be treated as fucking wage slaves in a company, right?" Like. It's people who went to an Amazon warehouse and it's like, maybe I don't like peeing in a bottle and like working 16 hours a day for this bald fuck that wants to go to space. Maybe that's like, that was their idea, right? That's what they wanted. And then this fucking dog walker comes in and just sets the entire movement back.
Oh God.
Like they could have had somebody from the Amazon warehouse mid fucking bottle piss talking to Jesse Waters instead of that fucking dude. And they had a whole rule, like, just don't go on Fox News. They broke that one rule because the people there were so smart. They knew exactly how to craft. They knew exactly the type of fuck to find to make that, like, thing go viral. And it did, you know? It's you know, that's how the media works, I guess. That's how any of these, like, fucking big, mega, like, propaganda pushing news websites want. Because as much as I shit on, like, Fox News, let's not fuck around. MSNBC is, like, the other half of Fox News. It's, like, the other side of the shitty like news wagon.
Where do you generally get your news from, Destiny? If you had to like have like a kind of an overarching source.
I mean, like it takes, as long as you're willing to read through full articles, it like you can get your news from a variety of places. A lot of people will, you know, have like the diagrams and it's like, I don't trust any mainstream media, or I don't trust Fox. I only trust like New York Times, Washington Post, or like I only trust Reuters and Associated Press. The reality is that when it comes to reporting, most mainstream media is going to get the stories, the facts generally correct. Even Fox News reporting isn't going to just lie about something. They might be a little bit selective about what they report, but for the most part, you'll get everything. The biggest problem people have, not to be rude to people, but like people always say like, oh, it's so hard to be informed. Oh, like, I don't know. No, it's not. It's really easy to be informed. The problem is that people will read headlines or they'll just read tweets. And then that's the extent that they're willing to put in for work to actually like figure out what's going on with that issue. If you just want to take a moment to take like 3 or 4 or 5 minutes, a lot of articles that are written now are like 2 to 3 minute reads. Like they're like 4 paragraphs, where like each paragraph is like 2 sentences. If you just like take the time to fully read an article, you're going to be decently well informed. More than 99% of people on the internet. That's not an exaggeration. Most people have no idea. With a lot of the debates that I get into, people on the left or right are usually just like, okay, well, hold on, let me read through this article fully. This article doesn't even say what you think it says. You have no idea what you're even talking about. That happens like the vast majority of the time because people just like read a tweet. You know, and then when you actually like
that feels like the Tim Pool thing. Like, have you ever seen like highlights where like Tim Pool will like read an article about something and like in the middle of the video he'll like get to that point in the article that contradicts it. Like, anyways, guys, let's go on to something else.
Dude, I've literally seen Cornering do that. I've literally
the Timcast.
Yeah, the Timcast. A lot of those sites will do it.
That's a good name for a podcast.
Destiny's absolutely right about that because like fucking when you go on to first off, most of these websites, I'm going to go as far as say like they even have little like blurbs in them that like read the article for you. Like you don't even have to like put the effort anymore. Like you hit the play button and it'll like fucking narrate the whole thing. So
like I know from personal experience, like when I was in my drama with the VTuber people over that doxing thing, like like Dexerto or whatever, like makes an article. Nux Taka receives backlash for doxing claims, and it's like very negative towards me. But then if you read the article, it just basically says the story and how I told the truth.
Yeah,
about
it sucks
things.
because like we kind of learn in school, or at least I remember learning in school. I don't know if they teach in school now, that like, oh, your headline needs to be grabbing, you know, it needs to get their attention. You need to be like shocking in the headline. But the problem is that like, well, what do we do today when people only read the headline? You know, now we have an issue because now your headline is not wrong, but arguably misleading if that's the only thing people are going to read, you know?
Yeah.
Well, because it's like when we look at like news companies, right? Like you're right, Fox News can't, you know, state something incredibly like fake, right? Like they can't just post fake news, right? Like in the sense that their reporting has to be accurate. But when it comes to the headlines, yeah, you can make that as embellished as you want.
Well, true, because you can also phrase anything as a question. Like I see a lot of articles, it's like, you know, does Fox News rape babies? No, they do not.
Oh yeah, we're gonna get sued by them. We're gonna get. No.
He said it. The fucking PNG just said it, bro.
The NFT said it, not us. It's not represented.
No, what I mean is you can put any question in the title of the article you want, and then you could just say no, but, and then you go on your little tangent. Like I don't know.
That's like the Alex Jones thing almost, right? Like where he'll just fucking well, I can't prove that the government doesn't control the weather, but anyways, you know, think about it, right? It's the biggest country in the world. You think they don't have the ability?
Yeah.
Like, come on now.
I think also we have to be careful, and I know that this is impossible now. People have a really hard time separating entertainment from the reporting. So like there's going to be a lot of people, maybe not, I don't know what kind of audience here, but there will be people who hear me say something like Fox News reporting generally does okay. And they're going to be like, what about this clip from Tucker Carlson? What about when Sean Hannity said this? It's like, these guys don't do reporting. Those are pundits, right? I think a lot of people,
they're there for entertainment.
Yeah, you've got like these hour block shows where those are guys that give you like digested news and their take on things. And that's a lot different than the reporting thing as well. Like I've gotten into so many arguments where, you know, I'll be like, okay, do you really think that like, maybe arguing with a conservative, do you think the New York Times actually was published like just wrong information related to this? And they're like, yeah, like these guys lie and they say that like white people are evil. And it's like, there's no way that the New York Times has reported that white people are evil. And I'm like, well, check out this. And then they start linking op-eds. And I was like, okay, I think that you can be critical of the op-ed. That's fine. But we have to be able to like, just because somebody says something you don't like in an op-ed doesn't mean that the reporting is going to be factually incorrect. Like these are two fundamentally different things. But yeah, I guess I kind of blame media companies for not separating them out better. But
well, I mean, it's in their detriment to not separate them out better because, like, it's to separate them out better would be in their detriment because, you know, at the end of the day, for a media company, the more, you know, clicks that they can garner, the better it is.
And also, you got to pander to your audience, you know, like.
Well, I saw the other day, like Bill Maher or whatever the hell, like I've never heard about him at all, but like Bill Maher, yeah. But I don't know how to pronounce his last name right, but Bill Maher, right? That's how you do it.
Yeah, Bill Maher.
Just say it however you want.
Yeah. Anyway, so like the other day, like I never heard about this guy for like years, right? Like fucking, it was whatever he. But then like a day ago on Twitter, he made this like one take about like fucking transgender kids are suddenly being more like suddenly, guys, believe it or not, transgender kids are more like they're coming out in California in droves, but not in fucking Alabama for some reason. Like obviously we understand. Like I'm like, hey, maybe it's because you know, there's a religious upbringing that sort of suppresses that versus, you know, another state where it's sort of been died down over a generation or two. Maybe that's a reason. But like he made that take and like fucking hundreds of thousands of like Twitter likes are out there, like media relevancy once again. And it's just, I don't know. It really brings me to the point where it's, I don't know. It's like, you're right. It goes back to the whole pundit thing. Like people just make like a fucking claim. It's like pushing one side. Like you can be critical of somebody. It's, I don't know. It's a crapshoot. A lot of the actual opinion just gets kind of suppressed. Like, you know, it really goes back to that team sports bullshit that I was talking about earlier with like how these things are handled. Nobody's able to like parse the information critically.